Good day. This is ENG 308, Study Session 5. Data Analysis and Discussion of Findings. Introduction. In the previous study sessions, we have told you that generating research topic, stating research problems, doing literature review, and defining the research methodology are some of the essential stages in the conduct of a research. Do you still remember what you are expected to do at each of these stages? Our focus in the present study session is to explore data analysis and discussion of findings as other essential stages in the conduct of research in language studies. Learning outcomes. After the study session, you should be able to differentiate between data analysis in language studies and other fields of research. Demonstrate knowledge of content analysis. 3. Explain how findings are discussed. Data analysis. In study session 4, linked here, we discussed that data relates to the information you have gathered for investigation. It is important at this point to explain to you what data analysis means. Now, what do we mean when we talk about data analysis? Data analysis is the arrangement, categorization, ordering, and interpretation of data to obtain answers to research questions. Bandele, 2004, Ditto 160. It generally requires that the investigator must systematically examine data in order to understand patterns and in some cases identify cause and effect relationships between dependent and independent variables. Simply put, data analysis is a process of reducing data to meaningful and interpretable forms. The data for analysis may be got largely from spoken or writable text, either literary or other forms of writing. This is not to suggest that researchers in language studies do not sometimes have to source for data from the field, just as it is done in the sciences or social sciences. It is necessary to let you know that at this level of your education, the kind of data you will often deal with in language studies will be that which will often not require sophisticated statistical tools. If you need to use such tools, you can consult statisticians or other experts in the area. Most often, you will require simple percentages, frequencies, and simple graphs to analyze and interpret your data. For example, in a stylistic research, you will basically be required to interpret your data, taking cognizance of frequencies of occurrence or tokens of occurrence and regularities of patterns. Data analysis in language studies is often based on content analysis. Content analysis. It is important to note that much of human activities are not directly observable or measurable. Again, it is not always possible to get information directly from people who might know of such activities. Content analysis, according to Frankel and Whalen, 2006, therefore, is a technique that enables researchers to study human behavior in an indirect way through an analysis of their communications. It is just what its name implies, the analysis of the usually, but not necessarily, written content of a communication, textbooks, essays, newspapers, novels, magazine articles, cookbooks, songs, political speeches, advertisements, pictures, and so on. In fact, the contents of virtually any type of communication can be analyzed. A person's or group's conscious and unconscious beliefs, attitudes, values, and ideas often are revealed in their communications. This form likely the subject of investigation and analysis in language studies. In today's world, there is a tremendously large number of communications of one sort or another. Newspaper or editorials, graffiti, musical compositions, magazines articles, advertisements, films, and so on. An analysis of such communications can tell us a great deal about how human beings live. To analyze these messages, an analyst needs to organize a large amount of materials and subject them to a rigorous process of scrutiny in order to identify patterns that may be common to them. It is important to mention, therefore, that data analysis, especially in language studies, requires a close study of the data and a rigorous explanation and description of patterns that are common to the materials. A subject or material is defined and classified, and its appearance and function of value described just as its historical background is told during the process of data analysis, which entails probing the nature of the subject with a view to determining its effect and how or why it works. ITQ. From what are findings derived in a research, literature review or data analysis? ITA. From data analysis. Discussion of findings. Findings are results of an investigation or study that are got from the analysis of research data. The aim of every research is expected to be the discovery of certain facts about a particular subject of investigation. These facts that are to be considered from the investigation or study are referred to as findings. Discussion of findings, therefore, involves highlighting, arranging, and describing the results that are got from data analysis. Note that at this stage, the researcher needs to organize, present, and vigorously argue for the relevance of his findings to scholarship. The organizing principles for the discussion of findings are enunciated by Olayinka and Oriaku, 2006, could be outlined thus. A. Cause and effect. This stresses the relatedness of things, enhances the understanding of a process, and the idea of organism or sense of a system. B. Chronology. This harps on order, natural order or sequence with regard to time, and is linked with cause and effect. C. Logic. This could be a deductive line of argument which moves from the general, for example, existing claims, to the specific. It could also be an inductive line of argument which moves from the specific to the general. You must note that the findings arising from your analysis of data will have to be presented and then discussed. In doing this, you must use good language that is clear, correct, precise, and readable. In times of tense, the simple present or the simple past could be used. For example, it is discovered or it was discovered. Study session summary. Data analysis and discussion of findings are important stages in academic research. The data obtained on a subject of investigation should be carefully studied and analyzed in order to arrive at useful findings or discoveries that will provide answers to the research questions. We have explained to you that data relate to the pieces of information obtained on a subject of investigation. Your data should be arranged, classified, described, and interpreted in line with the objectives of your research. We have come to the end of study session 5. Thanks for listening.